Welcome to Live 365 Radio. It's your girl Stacey J, and it means it's Thursday, and we're back with a dope conversation and a dope guest. But what I want you to do first is subscribe. Make sure you subscribe or download the XOD app on Google or Play Store. So whenever I drop new content, or you just need a little motivation, you can check me out and get your dose of inspiration. So let me tell you, I got my girl with me today. Her name is Nia Imani. If you don't know, now you know, right? And Nia is the CEO, the boss chick, the she-roy of Fabulous Life International. She is a wellness mindset coach. She is a legacy planning coach. She is a real estate guru, and she's a mother, and she is my friend. So I want to welcome her to the show.
Hey, everybody. What's up? Hey, Stacey.
So you know how this happened, right? So, Facebook, which I appreciate with those little reminders. And so it came up the last time we got together and did a show. And I was like, you know what? I need to have Nia back on. So that's what made me say, let me hit her up. Let me get her back on. And today I wanted to talk about, because this is a great topic and kind of aligns with what you do, is what is, breaking generational family cycles, right?
Okay.
So I know you and I have this conversation all the time, and we're actually been doing that work for a while, because once you recognize that there's some dysfunction that keeps continuing on generation after generation, somebody got to say stop. And so for me, I'm not sure who else is in my family. Well, I'll say Lisa Ray is doing that because we saw Ayala, but I'm also doing it for me and my family. And so I think that's very important, and we don't really think about that being really work. But when you're trying to, redesign your whole life, looking at those generational cycles that's continuing, I think is one of the most profound things that you could do.
I agree 100%. And it kind of just happened naturally for me because I never seen it done before. So I've been doing it for over 20 years now, before I even knew what the term generational wealth was. You know what I'm saying? It was just the concept of it, the idea of it, the energy of it, the spirit of it. It was just in me, and just something that I wanted to do differently that I had, not yet seen before.
Yeah. And so that's, and then when we talk about, because like I said before, Nia is a legacy coach as well. So she's going to teach you how to get to the money and how you can have this money for the long term, not just all spending now and then. Now your kids don't have nothing to look forward to, but also looking at those different cycles that you go through that can prevent you from even having generational wealth, because sometimes we have our hands closed because we hear so much is money don't grow on trees and all this kind of stuff. So we hold on to it, but we also hold on to those different traumas that we have. And so I had, looked up, what is a generational legacy, right? It says a generational legacy is a thought, perspective, and or belief that is emotionally or culturally passed down from our families. It's the lens through which we see the world that is shaped by our parents, grandparents, and key influencers. So when you think about the people that have raised you or the people that you've been around, you pick up a lot of these different traits and behaviors from them. Some are great, some are not great. Just like when we talked about the money. If your mom didn't have, or your dad didn't have financial sense, then they didn't teach you that probably either. And we know damn well the school ain't teaching it. So you pick up those habits and you continue them on. And so this is what I found out too. It says, did you know that boys who witness domestic violence in their own homes are 3 times more likely to become abusers, right? Children of alcoholics are more likely to perpetrate the cycle of alcoholism in their life. One dysfunctional behavior becomes a model or example to the next generation. So everything from your attitude to how you think, how you live, what your ideologies is, and your money is all contingent on the way you were raised.
Yeah. I agree. And kind of an evolution of what we do at Fabulous Life International came from that, just my personal experience, my professional experience, and I decided to marry that. So I created what I call the wealth methodology. And that's our trio of consulting strategies that we kind of walk people through those steps. So this
Okay.
is like a perfect segue for what you just shared, because a lot of times, like I spoke this weekend at a real estate retreat and mastermind, and it was so phenomenal because typically I just speak to women, right?
Right.
And so the wealth methodology, breaking that down, typically if I'm working with my regular clientele, which will be women, it stands for women emerge and live through healing. That's what wealth broken down stands for. But then
Okay.
we walk them through the trilogy of consulting strategies, which is mindset wellness,
Okay.
a journey of self-discovery and personal peace, because that's so necessary in order for you to even manifest money, maintain money. You have to really have like a healed heart and a whole mind. Nothing missing, nothing broken.
Right.
Because I've tried it the other way around, and trust me, y'all, it don't work. You
It
know,
don't work.
because you can be so excited. Oh, I want to, make money. You go straight to that, and you like, go get the money, go get the money. But and then you get there, and you a mess.
Yeah.
And one of the other things that, I shared to kind of bring that home is, we all knew and loved DMX, right? He was tormented in his spirit. So he was a very troubled man his whole life, from a lot of things that happened to him when he was younger. And I don't necessarily know if people try to help him get, mental health assistance and those sorts of things, but that really followed him to his passing day. I believe what kept him so long is his connection with God and his spirituality, but mentally he was very, very challenged, from many different angles, whether it be in the music business, how he grew up, and a lot of different things that happened there and in between. But that happens to a lot of us, because when you go through a lot younger, and if you're an ambitious woman like yourself, like myself, like a lot of, our other peers, and a lot of even men, you don't have time to be human because you got to hustle.
Yeah.
So you don't have time to be crying, whining, doing any of that stuff. Like, you got to make it happen.
Yeah.
And especially for people who are strong, people are like, oh, Stacey, not having a bad day, she's the strong one, or she's always inspiring me. Who inspires the inspired?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Who motivates the motivators?
Yeah.
Who loves the lovers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when you got to keep going like that, eventually you will burn out and break down.
Yeah.
And so that's what a lot of people, even successful people, you hear a lot of, successful people, sometimes they get to the point to where they commit suicide because they're holding so much pain, in their heart that they have not been able to share with other people. And so it doesn't matter how much money you have. Like, it's so funny. I was sitting here earlier just thinking, and I was like, God, I don't want to have $1 million in my account with a broken spirit.
Hello. That's no fun.
You know what I'm saying? Like, who wants to do that? I mean, and I don't want the people that I work with to do that either. So walking them through the mindset wellness piece of it, and then our vision manifestation, and then the legacy planning, and I'll break those down in a minute. But, you gotta have order.
Yeah, you do. I did a video that talked about, I just said, do the work, right? And it was just something that was on my mind, because I was like, you know what? Everything you do, you have to do work. If you want to work out, that's work. If you want a job, you got to work to get it. You got to do a resume. You got to do these different things. But when it comes to our own personal life, it's almost like on the back burner, I can do it later. And it's like you said, you're in a lot of pain and turmoil. And I'll give my scenario as an example is because I've shared it before, is that I was raised by an unemotional mother, right? My mother
Yes.
took care of me. I was sharp. I wore nice stuff. The hair was laid, all that.
Mhm.
However, she wasn't emotionally there. I later
Mhm.
learned that my mother comes from 17 children, so maybe it was a little harder to nurture all of them or whatever. But those things, that how she raised me,
Mhm.
stuck with me. So I became stronger and independent, and I can do what I need to do because that was my way of submerging that pain. And I
Mhm.
knew I eventually had to deal with it. And I'm 49 years old right now, I think. And it was about 2, 3 years ago that I said, you know what? It keeps coming up and manifesting in different ways. So I
Mhm.
needed to deal with it. I kept crying. I was watching every show came on, had some type of mother into it. And I just
Mhm.
kept crying. And I'm not a crybaby, but I knew I had to deal with this. So I called my mom and I said, I'm gonna just take a shot in the dark because my mother had never been to Atlanta to then. And I was like, Mom, I was like, would you come to Atlanta if I asked you to? She's like, what's going on? I was like, I need you. And she
Mhm.
said, yes. I was like, Lord, like, look at God, right? So she came down and everything. And I was seeing a counselor at the time. And she told me to just enjoy your mother. Don't bring up the
Mhm.
conversation because in the past, my mother and I have tried to have 2 conversations real serious. And my mother was like, I don't know what you're talking about. You know, I'm like, you don't know what I'm talking about, but then maybe that's her way of coping with maybe I didn't do what I needed to do. I wasn't trying to make her feel bad, but I needed to let her
Mhm.
know how I felt for so long. So she came, she stayed for a week, enjoyed her immensely, took out and had fun and all that. And from that point on, our relationship started to change tremendously. Like my mother started saying, I love you. I know some of y'all out there that your mother has never said or your father said they love you, and I know how important it is. So my
Yeah.
mother started saying she loved me. We talk, almost every day at some capacity. I know that what that inner child is longing
Mhm.
for, I probably
Mhm.
will never get that. So I have
Mhm.
to be okay what I can get as an adult child. And that's
Mhm.
hard to let down that guard because sometimes you be like, forget my mother. Like it is what it is. And I
Mhm.
just when God took my father, which he was older anyway, I was like, ugh, I kind of felt like, why him? Um, but I knew that meant that you need to get this together with her. So for me, I've always
Right.
done work for this in these last few years, or definitely the last two, has made me so diligent in removing things like the way my mother thinks sometimes. Like you as adults, you're like, I don't think like that. Like that's stupid, or that doesn't fit my lifestyle. And that's okay. And we can't be afraid to not live up to what our parents think we should be because that may not be your calling or your purpose. So
Mhm.
I just, this whole conversation was to encourage a lot of people, like you're speaking about DMX, that are dealing with something on the inside, smiling on the outside, looking great, but
Mhm.
really, just really, really deteriorating. So I know you were saying some of your consulting kind of helps with that.
Yeah, and I used to be one of those people. I used to be in front of the room looking like a 10 and feeling like a 2. You know what
Mm,
I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, I mean, a hot mess, you know? I mean, just really down in the depths of my own pit, but
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't necessarily have other people to share, my pain, my hurt,
Mm-hmm.
my needs and wants and all those things, you just keep it to yourself, you
Right.
know. But what I also found is that's not healthy.
At all.
Because that creates a lot of disease in your body, one, and then also it makes you super hyper vigilant of other people. So you can be triggered. Like that's a new word. I learned that word as an adult,
Mm-hmm.
but I had to realize that I had a lot of triggers. I
Yeah.
had a lot of no. We're not don't do that.
Right.
Um,
Pump your
I'm
brakes.
not. I will no longer be talking to you because we are not going to cross those lines. So
Right.
I was really like, protecting my
Mm-hmm.
space and cutting people off and just ready to fight still. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
girl, you gotta relax. Like
Yeah.
it's not that serious. But to your inner child, the one that you've had to protect forever, and had to fight for and and believe in and find when you got lost, and and heal when these men left you, and friends when they lied and talked about you. I mean, the cycle just keeps going on and on. And we really have to be mindful of that, because that can pass down to our children. And that's the most important part of breaking the cycle of generational curses of poverty, prison, and pain, so that we can help them be better people. And in order to do that, we have to be able to confront those dark places and stay close to the light. And it's a daily process. It does not happen over it. It happens over time, but it's also like real recovery. Alcoholics Anonymous, you got to go to Healers Anonymous. You got to do that work. I heard you doing a video earlier. You got to do that work daily.
It's daily. It's definitely daily. I'm talking about like brush your teeth, wash your face, you hear about meditation and all that, man. It's like, ooh, I'm telling you, if it's just quiet time, let's not even go into the particulars of meditation, because I know I'd be like, I still hear stuff. But I'm saying, even just closing your eyes and taking a moment to set your intentions for the day, I'm telling you, it works. If you like, I'm gonna have a great day, I, attract all goodness, good people, good opportunities, or whatever. It may seem silly, but it works. Even with my children, I look back and go, I did a pretty good job, but I could have done better if I was on the rules. However, you dish what you dish, but I still have the opportunity, because my kids are 23 and 29. I don't care how grown they get. And another thing that is really big in the Black community is we ready to kick our kids out quick. We don't want to sometime, and that's not all, aid in the system, because we feel like they grown, they got to learn on their own. But did you teach them? Because schools did. Just keep it 100. The schools ain't teaching them life. So as a parent, hopefully you know a little bit about life so you can teach your kid. And if you don't, then that's where mentors come in. So for me now, I feel like I'm doing more and better mothering to my children now as young adults, asking them, do y'all got anything y'all want to talk to me about? Anything about your childhood that you didn't understand or that you were upset about? My youngest told me I wanted to be on football, and he was, but I was so busy making a living. His daddy was so busy, my ex-husband making a living, that we were struggling to take him to the football games and practices and stuff. So as an adult, young adult, that really, when he told me that in counseling, of course you feel bad, but I apologize. Because that is something that he wanted to do, and that we didn't put the 100% in to help him achieve that. You know what I'm saying? So I have a different outlook on, raising children and putting them out. Now, I don't want them staying with me till they're 30. Let's be clear here. However, if you're raising your children to teach them how to fend for themselves and say, hey, I know you don't have enough to live on your own, but this is the plan. You got to get a job. You need to be saving this. I'm going to have you save this. You're going to pay this cable bill though, but I'm going to have you save this so that I can give you the tools maybe that I didn't give you then to get out on your own. And that's how a lot of other nationalities do it. And I know every nationality has their own trauma and stuff they have to do with. So this is just not for Black folks. Okay. However, we are all some form of fashion, when we have not dealt with that healing process, are dealing with something. It goes back to the money. Now you hoard money, or now you
can't keep it.
You don't know how to keep it either, because your energy behind it ain't right.
Right. Or sometimes what I found for me, I feel like I was on a hamster wheel for a while, because I just couldn't show up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm super ambitious. I'm charismatic. I could go, start stuff, but sometimes it's hard to maintain it when you got a lot of private emotional battles, that you fight in, that you can't really talk about. And so now you can't show up as your best self.
Right.
So thank God for grace. And so the ability to kind of get back on the wheel and it's like double dutch, right? You're like, okay, I'm about to get back on, and then you get on, you're like, oh, we get back in your groove, but you have to do that over and over and over because you can't see your broken pieces. You can't see your broken pieces. So you don't even know where to start until you start the healing process and you look back and you're like, you know what?
Yeah.
I really kind of messed that opportunity up. Or I would have been here, had I, been more of a team player and not been so, um, not been so protective versus inclusive. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of time, self-sabotage is real.
Yes.
And so that's the part that the mindset wellness is a direct reflection. And I also have this saying that I tell my clients too: your past trauma will create your money drama. So if you don't deal with it, it will deal with you.
Yes,
exactly. It will deal with you. So I would just suggest that people start there. It's okay. It's okay not to be okay.
Yes,
and you have to understand that. And it's not that you're crazy. It's not that,
none of that.
Something is wrong with you or whatever, because we all have different paths. We all have different backgrounds. We all, come from different types of parents. And environments, but at the end of the day, you have to be accountable for you. We grown now. So at some point, you have to be willing to step up to the plate and say, you know what, maybe it is me that I need to pay more attention to so that I can get better and be more of a light in this world than versus contributing to all the other negativity that's going on out there, And so once I started really even pulling back from consulting with clients, because I just started really consulting with clients again personally, because I was just doing some more, work, because there's levels, right? And so, but the more consistent you are with everything that you're doing, the more powerful you're going to be, not just to yourself, but to the people around you. And when I tell you, when you break open that core of who you are, I mean, everything starts pouring out, and then you start attracting more, and then you can just really, really start building from there.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, just take a step. Like, you don't have to look at like everything we're saying. It's like, oh my God, that's a lot. Just take a step, baby steps. And you have to really be okay with saying, I need help. I need to talk to somebody. I recommend a book. I can't tell you the author, but it's called The Mom Factor. That helped me with my mother, but it gave you a insight to kind of where generational cycles could come from. They label these different moms. I also met a lady and a gentleman that does soul clearing, because of sometimes you have residue of different things and family members and all that on you. We don't think about that. And when you start doing this work, don't worry about nobody calling you crazy and all that, because you're doing what's best for you to heal you. People always want to call you something when you're like, yeah, I'm getting my soul cleared. You know what I mean? But it's work, whatever that work is for you. The whole point is to start. You got to be aware. You got to take ownership. Girl, I got little tips for y'all. You got to be purposely observant. You need to start going out and watching how you interact with people. Is that your mama? Is that your mama coming out with that? Or is that your daddy, or whatever? You need to be able to monitor that and see, is this who I am? Because I know at my core I'm a nice person, but I also don't take no stuff. I'm all for what's right. I'm vigilant on people that do people wrong. I don't like that. And I try to make sure everything that I do aligns with who I am and that I'm doing people right. If your energy don't fit mine, I don't think you're that person. I just can't mess with you. You know what I mean? So you have to be observant of that. And I tell people all the time, do research, do your own research. I mean, you can look up dysfunctional family cycles, or, how do you break it? It's so many things that we can do instead of still, just simmer in that BS, because we are normally the ones that hurt ourselves. Like you said, the self-sabotage. It's like somebody else calling going, yeah, let me tell you about Imani. She ain't nothing. It's normally you You
Right.
messed up yourself because you didn't follow up, you didn't show up, you didn't believe in yourself. Something in the back of your mind was telling you, I can't. So I encourage people to start there. Start with someone like Imani that specializes in this to help you start getting the ball rolling. Because there are, to me, are more people now in 2020, even though a pandemic, and now that are awakening. Like I'm meeting so
Oh
many.
yeah,
Oh,
for real.
well, y'all got a crew of awakened people. I like that. Or people
I
just in the
mean,
process
seriously.
of growing. We talk about this all the time. It's
Mhm.
like one of those, you can't sit with us, but it's for a good reason. It's because
Yeah.
we want some good energy. I don't want nobody that's why, what, he and how, what. I don't know. It ain't this. I can't do that. It's
Mhm.
something about it just pulls your energy down. So when we hear all this about energy and vibration and third eye and clearing, that's real.
That
It is
stuff is
real.
real. And I think that people have not been able to welcome that process as
Mhm.
much because they have confused or they don't know the difference between religion and spirituality,
Yeah,
right? I would rather be spiritual all day
all
long
day.
because I feel like religion is two things. It's a lot of things, but just for the sake of this conversation, it's traditional
It's
and
controlling.
it's traditional and it is it doesn't happen that often. With spirituality, it is non-conforming. You can basically do it how you want to, where you want to. You do it as often as you want to. You can do
Right.
it in your car, you can do it in your office, you can do it in your living room, you can do it in your bathroom, you can do it in wherever. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm with
So
you.
I believe that spirituality is part of the healing process, and definitely needs to be reviewed and looked at and revered and respected.
Yeah.
Because just because you pray and go to church on Sunday, and now half the people ain't going to church on Sunday, they zooming in, and
Zoom it in.
baby, that vibration is a little off. You know what I'm saying? So we
Well,
have
like
to.
they say, after Sunday, you don't do anything else to the next
That's
Sunday.
what I'm
So I'm
saying.
not knocking church. I do like church. I haven't been to church in a long time because of 2020, and now they're just kind of, But I'm like, I can still do that work at home.
Absolutely. Because you gotta take it from the building to the body. And the
Hello.
body is consistently a part of your life. So you have to know that basically you are the church wherever you are. And if you just want to be a part of the tradition and the time, because that time comes around every Sunday, you
Yeah.
missing out. You're missing
Yeah.
out on a whole opportunity to basically turn your whole life around. And when you turn your life around, you turn generations around. That's what this conversation is about.
Yeah.
Because once we become better mothers, better grandmothers, better sisters, better friends, better aunties. I mean, we can start breaking things off of our family. I have nieces that, my brothers and sisters, we are night and day. Everything that I do and everything that I'm about, we're all different. You
Yes.
understand what I'm saying? So my
Yeah.
nieces and my nephews, they are inspired by me. Auntie, just, oh man, I needed that or
Yeah.
whatever. So I'm not just showing up for me and mine.
You're showing up
I'm
for the
showing up
world.
for the world. I took on this plan and God's purpose for my life over
Hmm.
20 years ago.
Hmm.
When I was a young mom, overcoming I always say, I'm a survivor of everything, just roll out the red carpet on the adversities and obstacles, and you'll see my
Hmm.
picture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like teenage pregnancy, domestic violence survivor, homelessness, dropped out of school, all those things. But that was never enough to allow me to use those situations or circumstances to say, you
Hmm.
know what, I'm gonna stay in this mess.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't have parents who I felt like really gave me a head start and provided me with a foundation to stand on.
Hmm.
I had to do that for my children.
I know that's right.
I completely, wholeheartedly believe in nepotism.
Yep. And you know what they say? And you know what they say? It's a saying about the dog on the porch, and that the man came up and the dog was just moaning, and then he looked at the man and said, "Well, why is your dog moaning?" He said, "Because he laying on a nail. When he get tired of laying on it, he'll get up." And that's
Right.
exactly what the point is here, guys. When you get
Exactly.
tired of having that pain and
Mm-hmm.
feeling bad, and
Mm-hmm.
things in your life are not going right, or they go right and then they go wrong, and then they go right and go wrong, and life is like that. However, let's kind of pinpoint what's the wrong that's keep going on. Is it something that's keep recycling in my life? Do I
Mm-hmm.
have daddy issues, mommy issues? Do I feel lack of self-esteem? Have
Mm-hmm.
I been in abusive relationships or mentally abusive relationships, or with people that have called me names and I don't believe in myself anymore? Whatever that is, get off that nail. Get off
Yeah.
that nail and take baby steps to do what you need to do. And I need y'all to call Nia Imani with
Yes,
Fabulous
yes.
International, really, if you are looking to really take your life to the next level, because this is my girl. Not only am I, promoting her because she's a friend, I'm promoting her because I've seen her do the work, and I've seen her transform other people's lives. And those type of people I want to be around, just quite frankly. Let's keep it 1,000.
Yes.
So can you tell them how to get in contact with you, your website and all that?
Yes, well, I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Nia Imani, and you'll see Fabulous Life International pop up also. Or you could go to our website, fabulouslifeinternational.com, to request a complimentary consultation. Basically, like I said, we have those trio of consulting strategies: the mindset wellness, the vision manifestation, which helps you, just kind of take your concept all the way to completion. And then you
Mm-hmm.
work on that legacy planning, which is the money, your money management, your
Mm-hmm.
cash flow creation, your real estate portfolio, life insurance. So any and everything that you need to be a whole woman, we have created an atmosphere for you to feel safe, for you to be able to bring your whole self to the
Oh,
table, your
that's right.
yin and your yang, your up and your down, and then we'll help you create the balance that you deserve.
See, that's what I'm talking about. My friends, I don't. My friends, I don't. But thank you so much for coming on. I think that was an important conversation just to have. And we, as normal, hope that it resonates to somebody and give them some insight to, you know what, I need to do that. So make sure that when you do hit up Nia Imani, that you mention Live 365 Radio. And I will see you again next week at 7:30. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel or download the XOD app off of Google or Play Store. Every Thursday, 7:30 p.m., you can catch me right here.